They say that the loudest person in the room is the most confident. They say that to be heard, you must speak up, speak over, and speak often. But silence has never been a sign of emptiness. It is often a sign of depth. The quiet ones, the ones whose voices you have to lean in to catch. Stray not timid by accident. They move through the world differently, carrying a weight that never announces itself. There is a specific psychology to those with quiet voices. A hidden landscape shaped not by fear, but by a profound sensitivity to the energy around them. We are taught to mistake volume for power. But what if the most powerful thing you can do is whisper? What if the quiet voice is not a weakness to overcome, but a sanctuary to understand? Let's begin. Before a quiet person speaks, they listen. Not just to the words being exchanged, but to the temperature of the room. The tension in a paused breath, the unspoken history hanging between two people. This is not a social strategy. It is an involuntary radar. They feel the weight of the atmosphere before they ever consider adding their own voice to it. For them, speaking is not a reflex. It is a responsibility. To speak is to disturb the air. And a person with a quiet voice is acutely aware of the disturbance they might cause. They have learned that their words land differently, that they carry a density that can either soothe or shatter. So they calibrate. They lower the volume not because they are afraid of the listener, but because they are afraid of being misunderstood, of the echo their truth might create in a space that isn't ready for it. Their softness is a filter, a way of testing the waters. It asks the world a silent question. Are you listening deeply enough to hear me? Or am I just noise to you? A quiet voice is rarely born in a vacuum. It is usually forged in the foundry of a home where sound meant something dangerous. Perhaps it was a house where shouting was the primary language, where love arrived as a roar and criticism as a thunderclap. Or perhaps it was a house where speaking brought no response at all, where words fell into a void of indifference, never echoing back. In such spaces, a child learns a profound lesson. Voice does not equal impact. They learn that to speak loudly is to invite conflict, and to speak at all is to risk being ignored. So they retreat inward. They build a world inside their mind where it is safe, where the volume is controlled. The quiet voice becomes a shield. It is a way of moving through the world without waking the beast, without reminding the distracted parent of your existence. It is not shyness you are witnessing in them now. It is an ancient cellular memory of survival. They are not whispering because they have nothing to say. They are whispering because they learned long ago that silence was the only way to stay safe. Neurologically, the quiet person is often running a different operating system. While others are projecting outward, they are absorbing inward. Their sensory gates are wider, allowing more information to enter. The flicker of a fluorescent light, the subtle shift in a friend's mood, the layers of meaning beneath a simple sentence. This is not a distraction. It is a constant, data-rich stream of consciousness. To speak for them is to temporarily shut these gates. It requires them to stop processing the external world and focus entirely on the internal one. This is why their words often come out slowly, deliberately, sometimes barely above a whisper. They are not hesitating because they are uncertain. They are translating. They are sifting through a library of thoughts, emotions, and observations to find the single most precise sentence worth releasing. The quiet voice is a sign of a mind at work, filtering noise to find signal. It asks you to wait, to lean in, to value the quality of the utterance over the speed of it. In a world that rewards rapid-fire reactions, the quiet person offers something rare, a considered response. The cost of this depth, however, is that they are often exhausted by a world that refuses to stop shouting. There is a particular loneliness that comes with being perpetually underestimated. The quiet person learns to watch as their silence is interpreted as shallowness, their softness as submission. In meetings, they are overlooked. In conversations, they are talked over. In social settings, they are asked, "Why are you so quiet?" As if their stillness is a problem to be solved, an emptiness to be filled. But inside, the river runs deep. While the loud voices chase the surface, the quiet person dives. They have entire ecosystems of thought beneath the waterline. Philosophies, poems, critiques, jokes they will never tell. The frustration is not in being unheard. It is in being perceived as hollow. Society has built a myth that volume equals substance, that the person who speaks most must have the most to say. This is the quiet person as silent burden, to know that their inner world is vast and vibrant, yet to watch it be dismissed as an empty vessel. They carry the weight of not being seen, not because they are invisible, but because the world refuses to look below the surface. Then comes the quiet realization. The turning point is not when they learn to speak louder, but when they understand the true nature of their power. A loud room is chaotic, unfocused, a marketplace of competing egos. But when a quiet person speaks, something shifts. The room must adjust to them. People lean in. Conversations pause. The air thickens with anticipation. This is the paradox of the quiet voice. It demands intimacy. It forces connection. In a world saturated with noise, a whisper becomes the only thing worth listening to. The quiet person begins to see that their softness is not a weakness to be corrected, but a frequency that cuts through the static. When they speak, people listen, not because they are loud, but because they are rare. They carry the weight of unspoken words, and when they finally release them, those words land like stones in still water. The ripple is inevitable. They realize they do not need to compete with the thunder. They are the silence between the storms, and that silence holds more power than the thunder ever could. Healing for the quiet person is not about becoming louder. It is about granting themselves permission to exist exactly as they are. It is the slow, quiet work of unlearning the belief that they must translate themselves for a noisy world. They stop apologizing for the softness. They stop forcing words into spaces that do not deserve them. To live at your own frequency is to understand that not every room will understand you, and that is no longer your burden to carry. You speak because you have something to say, not because silence feels uncomfortable. You let your voice remain quiet, not out of fear, but out of a deep knowing that the right people will always lean in. The wrong ones will drift away, and that is as it should be. Your voice is not a barrier to connection. It is a filter for it. It ensures that the energy you receive matches the energy you emit. In a culture that confuses noise with presence, you have chosen a different path. You have chosen to be a sanctuary, not a siren. And in that sanctuary, your words, few as they may be, will always find a home. If this video made you feel seen, if it put words to a silence you have carried for years, know that you are not alone. There is a quiet strength in you that the world needs, even if it doesn't always know how to ask for it. This space exists for those who feel deeply, who speak softly, who listen carefully. If you would like to stay connected to this quiet corner of reflection, we invite you to return whenever you need to remember the power of your own voice. And if something inside you stirred today, if a memory surfaced or a truth landed gently in your chest, you are welcome to share it in the comments. Not because you owe the world an explanation, but because your words might help someone else feel a little less alone in their silence. No pressure, no expectation. Just the quiet company of kindred spirits. Take care of yourself. You deserve to be heard exactly as you are. We'd love to hear from you. If you're watching till the end, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. And if any part of this reflection felt personal to you, your story matters here. Please share with us. And if you're new, consider subscribing to PsychePaint. There's always more to explore together.